Dear student, welcome to the course Computational Fluid Dynamics. The course code is PTME 3053 and today lecture is Unsteady State Heat Transfer Unit 5. The name unsteady, that means that something that is not constant with time, that is changing with the time. Now you have seen some example in the previous lectures. In some cases we have solved out. For the heat transfer problem, we have seen 1D heat transfer problem, 2D heat transfer problem, and even the general equations of the heat transfer problem. All that I have covered, that was related to the steady state heat transfer, in which there is no variation in the properties with respect to the time. Only the variation was with respect to the space, that in the space with the change in the coordinates or with the change in the space coordinates, how the properties are changing. That was the steady state of variation with respect to space but no variation with respect to the time. Now the unsteady state, either I call it transient zone or transient state, in which at the same point the properties, or if I am talking about the transfer of heat at any particular cross section, that is changing with the time. That is unsteady state conditions. So I will try to summarize all the 1D transfer, 2D transfer and 3D heat transfers, unsteady state problems, to see all the uh, different type of the heat transfer flow problem in a journal form, in which the variation at a particular point is happening with respect to time. Okay, so that is unsteady state heat transfer. Now let's recap in the previous lecture what we have seen. We have gone through the heat transfer process. There I have explained that there are three modes of heat transfer: conduction, convection and radiations. Then we have gone through the basic equation of the heat transfer, that what are the basic equation of heat transfer in the conduction. Conduction we have studied about the Fourier's law, and then for the convection process we have seen the Newton's law of cooling. Okay, and here we came out with a convection heat transfer coefficient H. And then in the radiation mode of heat transfer we have seen the Stephen's law, that is E is equal to sigma T to power 4. Okay, so these are mainly three basic modes of heat transfer: conduction, convection and your radiation. We have gone through the Fourier's law of heat transfer in conduction. We have derived the relation. Okay, and what is the Fourier law? In which that your heat flux is directly proportional to the temperature gradient. Okay, as the temperature gradient means the heat flows in that direction in which temperature is continuously falling with respect to your displacement or x. We have gone through the one-dimensional steady state heat condition. We have seen the examples like a plane valve. We have seen the example of cylinder. We have seen the example of a sphere and spherical cells. Okay, in all which we have derived the relation and study about the steady state heat conduction, means the property was not varying with time, they were varying with the space coordinate. Then we have gone through the general equation of steady state heat transfer and particularly for the conduction process. So all these things we have covered in the previous lectures. Okay, now the objective for today class is that we will see the two-dimensional transient heat transfer in conduction. We will mainly focus on the conduction, and in which we will see the unsteady state heat transfer, that is properties are varying at a particular point with respect to the time. Then we will see that what are the cases in which we can find out the exact solution. We will see the cases in which we can find out the solution by analytical methods, and then the third we will see that the graphical solutions, that how to use the Hazelard chart and to derive the relations. So these are the basic fundamentals of the heat transfer. In the later classes I will discuss that what I am going to discuss that today, that we are following a you are habitual or you are familiar with the methods analytical approach. So all these are the analytical approach, but in the next class I will discuss that how to convert these partial differential equations. Like suppose that you when you write your Fourier's law or Newton's law of cooling, whatever, these are the differential equations. So in next class we will see that how to solve these equations by converting into the discretized equations, that is into the algebraic equation and having the solution. That is the part of CFD. But before going to that lecture, we have to understand about all this background about the topic and about the transient phenomena. So let's start with the transient heat conduction. First, try to understand what is this. So transient heat conduction means the first thing there is, if we look over space, the property generally varies with respect to space coordinate and with respect to the time. Means if I am talking about, suppose that in heat transfer, that is temperature is our function. I am interested in to find out the temperature at different points into the desired space. The temperature, I can say that is a function of the space coordinate and as well as the time coordinate. If I am into the fluid dynamics problems I am solving there, then the fluid pressure I can say, either the fluid velocity I can say, that is the function of space and as well as function of time. So generally in general the properties are the function of the space as well as function of the time. So when the properties are changing with respect to time, even at a particular point or a particular cross section, then we can call it that is the transient phenomena. If I am in the heat problem and that is related to the conduction flow of heat, the mode is conduction, then I call that this is a transient heat conduction problem. So transient means variation of properties with respect to the space coordinate and as well as the time. So let's recall what is that. Many heat conduction problem encountered in engineering applications involve time as an independent variable. Simply you can take example, you take some metal and first heat it in a furnace and then keep that metal when it's full warm into the atmosphere. That process is quenching, that how the temperature of the, and you try to measure that how the temperature of the that metal is changing with respect to time. So you will realize that the same point, if you consider any point on the metal surface, the same point, the temperature is varying with respect to the time. And if you see the other point, the temperature is also different. Means if you have a piece of metal and you have warmed it into a furnace and then you have placed in the air to make it cool down, this process is quenching. And when you suppose that this is your space and you fix different point into the or metal, your metal piece that you have taken, so you will find that different points have different temperatures. Okay, means there is a variation of temperature with respect to the space, and when you will analyze to study it, you will find that at the same point the temperature is changing with respect to time. So that is the problem of transient heat phenomena, and the processes through which is transferring this is conduction. So that is the overall analysis. So the goal of analysis is to determine the variation of the temperature as a function of time and position, that is txt, within the heat conducting body. Okay, in general we deal with conducting bodies in a three-dimensional Euclidean space in a suitable set of coordinate that x belong to R3. R3 means your real space xyz, and the goal is to predict the evolution of temperature field for future times. Means as the temperature, as the time move on with the time at a particular point or with a variation in space, how it is happening. Okay, so hence we investigate solution to the selected special cases of the following form of the heat equation. Here it is written, that is rho Cp del T by del T equal to del dot K delta T plus G of R. So your rho Cp delta T this side, and another is that is del dot K del T, that is the divergence of temperature plus GR. So this is the general form of the equation of your steady heat, your heat transfer, not steady state. If there is no source, then GR is goes to 0. So you have the equation rho Cp del T by del T equal to del dot K delta T. The expansion is gives you K del T by del X plus K del T by del Y plus K del T by del Z. Okay, and the divergence of that means del K, I can take it outside to K del 2 T by del X2 plus del 2 T upon del Y2. In this way we can expand this formula, and if the steady state condition, so LHS is also going to 0. So you have the equation that del 2T upon del X2 plus del 2T upon del Y2 plus del 2T upon del Z2 equal to 0. Okay, so when we are applying the fundamentals equations of heat transfer, we are getting this partial differential equations, and if we want to have the solution of these equations we have to impose the boundary condition and some initial condition under which we have to get the solution of the problem. Okay, so if the change things or properties are varying with the time, here our interest of variable is temperature. So how the temperature is varying with space and time, that we want to study. So that is a transient heat conduction. Now let's call some example, that is point thermal explosion. Okay, let a fixed amount of energy, that is H naught, be instantaneously released. A thermal explosion has been taken place, and at time t is equal to 0, this much energy has been released into the space. That is our interest of space, H naught. At the origin of three-dimensional system of coordinate inside a solid body of infinite extent, initially at t x equal to 0, that is time t is equal to 0, and tr equal to 0, we are considering the spherical body everywhere where x is going to be the r, and that is equal to x square plus y square plus z square. No other thermal energy input exists subsequent to the initial instantaneous release. Means this is the single source of energy. Assuming constant thermal properties K, density R, and Cp the heat capacity, if we write the equation for this, the equation is going to be del T by del T, where T stands for temperature, equal to alpha 1 by R square del by del R, R square del T by del R. So this is the fundamental equation for this particular case for heat transfer. Okay, and this equation must be solved to the initial condition is, what is the initial condition? That at the temperature T R equal to 0 for all R greater than 0, plus the statement expressing the instantaneous release of energy at T is equal to 0, the origin. Since the body is infinitely large, the far field temperature never change and all the released energy must dissipate within the body itself. So the fundamental solution of this problem is given by, that is T RT equal to H naught upon 4 pi alpha T to power 3 by 2 rho Cp exponential, that is minus R square upon 4 alpha T, where tau is the characteristic time and that is defined as R square by A. So the motive of this is that here what the solution we are getting, that is becomes a function of time. So your point thermal explosion, it's a case of unsteady heat conduction where uh, the variation of temperature with the time and with the space is studied, and we have got this solution, and this solution is a exact solution that we have derived. Okay, now let's talk about the one-dimensional problem, one dimensional and the unsteady state problem. So imposed boundary temperature in Cartesian coordinates. Okay, a simple but important conduction heat transfer problem consists of determining the temperature history inside a solid flat wall which is quenched for a high temperature, as that I have given an example of a metal block or metal piece that you have warmed in furnace and then kept into the air for quenching, for cooling down. So same here, you have a thermal wall or solid flat wall and which is quenched from a high temperature. The problem is going to be unsteady state heat transfer and conduction in 1D. More specifically, consider the homogeneous problem of finding the one-dimensional temperature distribution inside a slab of thickness L and thermal diffusivity A initially at some specified temperature, that is Tx at 0, that is time equal to 0, is Fx, and exposed to heat extraction at its boundary, that is x is equal to 0 and x is equal to L. Then the condition is going to be that T0 T equal to T at LT and that is equal to 0. That is the Dirichlet homogeneous conditions, and that we have already studied for T greater than 0. Okay, so this condition that I am discussing the problem here, that is a one-dimensional unsteady state problem. We are seeing some examples of the unsteady state heat conditions. Now second, we can see the convection at the boundary in Cartesian coordinates. Same geometry but the boundary conditions specify values of the normal derivative of the temperature, or when linear combination of the normal derivative and the temperature itself are used. Let us consider the homogeneous problem of transient heat conduction in a slab initially at temperature T is equal to Fx and subject to convection loses into medium at T is equal to 0 at x0 and x is equal to L. Convection heat transfer coefficient at x is equal to 0 and x is equal to L are respectively H1 and H2. And let us assume that thermal conductivity of the slab K is constant. So this is a transient heat problem in one direction, and it is a convection type mode in which heat transfer is taking place. So here we have seen two problems, and both are one dimensional, and one is under the conduction heat transfer and another one is under the convection heat transfer. Okay. Now when we are imposing the boundary temperature and convection at the boundary in a cylindrical coordinate, okay, let us taking another example of cylinder. A long cylinder radius r is equal to b, initially at t is equal to fr, whose surface temperature is made equal to 0 for t greater than 0. A long cylinder radius r is equal to b at T is equal to Fr is exposed to a cooling medium which extracts heat uniformly from out its surface. So all these problems that you have already stated, that comes under the unsteady state problems. Now the boundary condition is going to be in this type of the problem. In a spherical coordinate, if I want to impose this boundary condition, the quenching problem where a sphere radius r is equal to b, initially at t is equal to fr, whose surface temperature is made equal to 0 for t greater than 0, and if we are considering a sphere with initial temperature T r equal to 0 Fr and dissipating heat by convection into a medium at its surface r is equal to b. So when we are defining the problem, as we have gone through the examples, these are examples of the unsteady conditions, and we have described that how to impose the initial conditions and boundary conditions so that we can have the solution for such problems. Now you have come out with a term that is characteristic length. So the characteristic length for a 3D object is given as L is equal to V divided by A, where V is the volume and A is the surface area. So suppose that we have a slab. Okay, for the slab, V divided by surface area. That's a slab whose length is L, height is H, width is W. Okay, so what will be the volume? Volume is going to be its LHW. And what will be the surface area? Surface area going to be what? W into H. Okay. So characteristic length you are getting L. Okay. Suppose that we have a sphere. What is the volume? 4 by 3 pi r naught cube. What is the surface area? 4 pi r naught square. So value is going to be r naught by 3. If we are having rod, it is going to be B by AS, and this value is going to be pi r naught square L, that is the volume, and surface area is going to be 2 pi r naught L. So we are getting the characteristic length, that is r naught by 2. Okay, so these are the characteristic length that we are going to use in some cases. The exact solution of 1D transient problem. The non-dimensionalized partial differential equation formulated with its boundary and initial conditions can be solved using several analytical and numerical techniques, including the Laplace or other transform method, the method of separation of variable, the finite difference method, and the finite element method. So all these methods are used to solve 1D transient problem. The method of separation variable is developed by Fourier and is based on the expanding an arbitrary function in terms of Fourier series. The method is applied by assuming the dependent variable to be a product of number of functions, each being a function of single independent variable, and this reduces the partial differential equation to a system of ordinary differential equations, and each being a function of single independent variable. Okay, so in the case of transient conduction in a plane wall, for example, the dependent variable is the solution function, that is uxt, which is expressed at uxt equal to fx gt, and the application of the method results in two ordinary differential equations, one in x and the other in t. So we have for 1D transient problem, for some problem we also have the exact solutions. Now we talk about the analytical solutions. The analytical solutions of transient conditions problems typically involve infinite series and thus the evaluation of an infinite number of terms to determine the temperature at a specified location and time. However, as demonstrated in table that you are seeing on the screen, rapidly as n and thus ln increases because of the exponential decay function. This is especially the case when the dimensional time t is large. So therefore the evolution of the first few term of the infinite series is usually adequate to determine the dimensionless temperature q. So when we have the time greater than 0.2, keeping the first term and neglecting all the remaining terms in the series, result is error under 2% and that is applicable. So we are usually interested in solution for the times with t greater than 0.2 and thus it is very convenient to express the solution using this one term approximation and that you have studied in your heat transfer problem. So here we have the analytical solution for such problem, but there are the problems that we solve in the coming lecture where we use the numerical methods. Okay. Now another approach that is graphical solution Hessler charts is there. So when the Biot number is going to be the greater than 0.2, then the lumped mass system doesn't suits well. So in that case, the Hessler charts is used to predict the function of the temperature. So the solution obtained for 1D non-homogeneous problem with Newman boundary conditions in Cartesian coordinate system using the method of celebration of variable have been collected and assembled in the form of transient temperature nomographs by Hessler, and the given charts are a very useful ballistic baseline against which to validate one's own analytical or numerical computation. So when we are going to use the Hessler chart to finding out the solution when our Biot number is greater than 0.2. In that case, the mass system doesn't give accurate result. So at that time, we are using Hessler chart to find the solutions of the unsteady state problems. Now let's summarize. In steady in heat conduction under steady state condition, the temperature of a body at any point varies with time as well as position in one-dimensional and multi-dimensional system. This type of heat conduction is also known as transient heat conduction. Biot number signifies that when a relative smaller size body having good conductivity or losing heat by convection from its surface, temperature would remain uniform everywhere and the body as a whole as a single entity losing heat. The Hessler chart is applicable in the case of J number is greater than 0.2. In unsteady state heat conduction for bodies with negligible temperature gradient, the time temperature variation curve is exponential. Okay. These are the reference books that you can use. And these are the questions for the practice, like what is the difference between steady state and transient or unsteady state heat transfer? How is natural convection different from forced convection? What are the conditions to be satisfied for the application of thermal circuit? So these are the questions for the practice. So in the today lecture, we have gone through the unsteady heat transfer. We have seen its different method to solve the unsteady heat problems, either it is rated 1D, 2D or some higher like 3D. We have noticed that there are for solving unsteady heat transfer, the lumped mass method is suitable and we are having the analytical solutions for those when the Biot number is less than 0.2 and when Biot number is greater than 0.2, the Hessler chart is used to determine the solutions. And in coming lectures, we will see that how these partial differential equations can be written into the finite difference methods using either in the form of algebraic equation and we have the solutions. So how to apply the CFD in heat transfer, we will see that in coming lecture, but further today I have just revised your basic concept of the heat transfer for unsteady state heat problems. So thank you for the lecture. Hope you have enjoyed the lecture.